Hi everyone! Welcome to your Qigong video today. So before we move into our practice, I just want to give a little bit of background about Qigong. What it is and a little bit about kind of what you'll maybe anticipate experiencing today. So first, Qigong means energy cultivation. The word Qi means energy kind of within our body, outside of our body. And it's often used in practices, martial arts practices. So if you've heard of Tai Chi, for example, it's the same sort of idea. Gong means to cultivate or to gather. And the idea is that we're actually cultivating energy within ourselves. So if you think of Qigong as kind of an internal energy practice, Tai Chi is actually an external energy practice. So I'm sure a lot of you have seen Tai Chi being done, whether in a movie or in kind of your own experiences with it. But Tai Chi is often kind of this external pushing force. You're typically kind of planning, doing things outside of yourself. And you can often imagine with Tai Chi that there's going to be another person kind of mirroring, almost like an attack sequence in slow motion of some kind, right? So if you're kind of absorbing something, it's because someone has come and then you're kind of pushing that energy out, right? So that's Tai Chi. With Qigong, though, the idea is that you're actually working with energy inside of yourself. So you're often doing kind of movements that bring you inward. You're thinking about how you're connecting to your body, connecting to your breath. So if you think of this practice as kind of a gentle, mindful movement practice, the idea is not to kind of rush through movements. It's a very slow, really intentional practice. And often I'm going to guide you through using your breath to help you connect with the movement. So for example, if we're moving our arms up, we may inhale. If we're moving our arms down, we may exhale, that sort of thing. Like any practice, if you have any injuries, just make sure that you are kind of consulting with your body, consulting with professionals as needed to know if it's a good practice for you. For most individuals, from kids to the elderly, this is considered a really safe, really accessible practice. If for whatever reason you have injuries kind of the lower body, you're welcome to sit at any point during the practice. Often I've seen individuals with like shoulder injuries that have to have modifications during this practice. So as an example, again, if I'm bringing my arms all the way up, perhaps with one arm I'm just bringing it within my range of motion and then bringing my arms down. So just really work within your range of motion, listen to your body and what you need. So to start, again, like any fitness practice, we're going to start with a warm-up. And then we'll move into kind of the core practice. For today's practice, I have kind of choreographed or arranged a series of movements together that will kind of teach each one, and then we'll build upon each other, and then eventually we'll kind of have this consistent practice of about 5 movements that you'll just repeat as much as you like. So we'll do it for a few minutes, but if you'd like to continue the practice, of course, you're more than welcome to do that. But let's go ahead and start with a warm-up. So let's just go ahead and start kind of twisting our wrists. And again, it's cultivating energy. So we're just kind of waking up the body. I'm going to have you switch directions. That often feels really weird. To do that, we're going to bring our palms up, down. You're going to feel it kind of in these muscles of your forearm. And down, and up, and down. Good. We're going to do almost the same thing. We're going to plantar flex, and dorsiflex our feet, just kind of moving into a calf raise. You're going to feel that in your calf muscles. Not trying to get a workout, remember. We're just warming up the body. Kind of increasing blood and oxygen to different areas of our body. Okay, now we're going to do that movement I showed before. We're going to kind of sweep our hands up. Our fingers are relaxed. And down. starting to connect with our breath. You might notice that your breath is faster or slower than mine. Just move at whatever pace makes sense for you. In this next rise, we're going to kind of rub our hands together, coming up. And at any point in the practice, if you feel like it'd be beneficial to close your eyes, feel free to do that. Absolutely. Once you kind of know what the movement is. We're going to go one more time, kind of rubbing our hands together. Stretching back. Great job. This next move is called walking through heaven or paradise. And I want you to just picture a beautiful place. For me, it's always like a golden field with canola or wheat or something like that. For others, it might be desert, mountain scene, water, whatever really resonates for you. But you're going to lift one leg and at the same time kind of sweep your hands over to that side. Almost like you're taking kind of a dance walk through whatever space you've envisioned. Again, feel free to close your eyes. Noticing the balance challenge that comes with closing your eyes. And recognizing that if you open your eyes, that'll support your balance more. Choosing what's best for you. And again, connecting to that breath. And now really try and slow that movement down. Slowing your breath down as you do so. Great job. Coming back to center. I'm going to have you just connect with your breath for another moment. So we're going to stand about shoulder width apart with our feet. Athletic stance, so you're going to have a gentle bend in your knees. And I'm going to have you let your hands kind of reach up, shoulders come to your ears, and then just feel everything relax down. If you like, you're welcome to close your eyes or just soften your gaze down to the floor. And we're just starting to connect with our breath. Maybe noticing what's happening with our breath. Becoming aware without judgment of the pace of our breath, the depth of our breath. Connecting to your body one more time, I want you to bring awareness to the middle finger. And notice it almost being pulled down toward the ground, giving you length in your neck, strength in your posture. And at this point, you might choose to extend your breath, giving more time for your exhale, giving more time for your inhale. Just taking about 2 or 3 more breaths here. Great job. Okay, you're welcome to open your eyes if they were closed. We're going to just start our practice by rubbing our hands together, getting any other movement that we need to in our body. Noticing maybe kind of where you're tight. Hands are coming together. We're noticing some heat being created in our hands. And I'm going to take you through a series of a few movements that will then combine together. So each of them has something that you can visualize to help you connect with that movement. The first is a fountain of water. So I like to imagine that we're first building a base. Again, that slight bend in your knees. We're going to build that base, palms are pushing out. And then as we gather, our hands are coming together at the backs of the hand. We're finding our center of our body as we move our hands up. And as we exhale, really lengthening our arms down. Great job. Let's just do that a couple more times. Building the base, pressing palms out. Back of hands come together, sweeping in as we inhale up. Exhale down. Using the breath to guide your movement. Let's do this next one very slowly. Just really focusing on how it feels to move your body. Focusing on that energy inside yourself, closing your eyes if that helps. Good. Okay, now we're going to insert a tiger movement just before we span our arms out. So we're coming up from the water, and you're going to add a tiger pose. You're bending a little bit more on your hips, feeling it more in your quads and your glutes, strengthening your back at the same time. And you're going to give kind of a strong hand tiger pose. If you feel like you need to growl, feel free to do that. Right? You're feeling that tiger. And then we're lengthening up and coming down. Noticing that this is really about opening, strengthening, empowering, kind of seeing how that works for you, if that happens for you. Okay? So let's combine those two movements together. First, we're gonna rub our hands together, build that base with your fountain, coming up the center of your body, adding that tiger, and expanding down. Nice job. Okay, so we've added fountain to tiger. Next movement as we come down is we're going to imagine ourselves as a mountain. Okay? We're going to bend into that squat just a little bit. We're going to gather our hands together here, almost like we're gathering strength and energy kind of at the center of our body. Take a breath. And then you're going to gather energy coming up, finding that center, pouring that energy over yourself, and relaxing down. And that's the whole movement. Now, when you gather, I'm going to encourage you to actually gather all the way to the ground, touching the earth if that's something that you have available to you. Scooping up that energy and coming to this point. Okay? Before we move through that sequence, I want to move through a little bit of an experiment with you. So let's go ahead and just rub your hands together again. Feeling some warmth, maybe really creating some friction in your hands. And now what we're going to do is I want you to see if you can imagine or feel energy between your hands. So I'm going to have you open your fingers wide. And you're going to spread your fingers apart. Press them together. Engaging the muscles of your arms. But really focusing on what you feel in that space between your hands. For me, I feel it most like a magnet, almost like they're being pulled back toward each other. For others, they imagine kind of like a honey or molasses feeling, kind of moving through something really thick. Let's try one more time, rubbing your hands together. Great job. And again, if you don't feel anything today, doesn't mean you're doing it wrong, right? You can still imagine energy as kind of this metaphorical sense of energy as opposed to maybe something more literally experienced. But the idea is that we do have energy within ourselves and we can kind of share that together. So now I'd like to move through all of those movements together. I'm going to show it 3 times. That can be as much as you do today. If you feel like you want to practice a little bit more, obviously feel free. You're welcome to repeat it and follow along with me. Or once you've kind of figured out what those movements are, just kind of take it on your own. If you want to add more movements to it, feel free to do that as well. Okay, so we're going to move through it 3 times together, very slowly. Okay? And all I'm going to do is cue the idea or the image in your mind and move through those movements. Fountain. Moving up as we inhale. Tiger. Inhale up. And as you reach down, coming into that strong mountain. Breath here. Gather that energy again, reaching to the floor if you have that accessible to you. Playing with the energy that you've just gathered, the energy within yourself. Taking that ball of energy and almost like water, just letting it kind of pour over you. 2 more times. Fountain. Tiger. Finishing that fountain, coming to your mountain. Strong. Energy. Feel that ball and pour it over. For this 3rd time, I'd like to encourage you to do it very slowly, almost to where it feels like you're barely moving. Just really finding your breath, lengthening that breath. Tiger. Mountain. Now I'd like to encourage you to continue doing that practice, even 10 rounds of it, if that feels meditative or positive for you. But remember, you can do as little as 3. And now you know a really quick Qigong practice, beginning with a warm-up and moving into that sequence for as many rounds as makes sense for you. So I hope you had a good practice. Thank you for joining me today, and I will talk to you all soon.